Alrighty, Jimbo. Here we are, Friday, week 2 of our Friday forecast of our preseason prognostications of seeing how each of the NFL divisions will end up, according to us, to, well, I think idiot's hard, but I mean, that's what everybody calls us, so I don't know what else to. Welcome everybody to the Friday forecast. It's your boy King, that's your good friend Jimbo right over there. This is Stay Tuned Sports, and thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to help us out, please, 3 free ways you can go ahead and do that. You hit that like, share, subscribe button. It's fantastic. It helps us with the YouTube algorithm. Nobody knows what is going on with that thing. But if you like, helps with it. That's what I know. You hit the share, gets more people to come in, and they like it. That helps with the thing. And then, of course, if you're here and not subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button because that's going to help with the algorithm more than anything. Plus, gets us closer to that 500 subscriber mark where we will then be able to be monetized and make some money. And as I mentioned in the last couple of shows here that we've done here on Stay Tuned Sports, some people might lie and just be like, we want to reach more people and we want to get out there. And we do want to reach more people. Don't get me wrong. But I want to make money. I want to be able to do this for a living. And that would be fun because right now I'm poor as shit. And when I mean poor, I mean like 17 cents in the bank poor. So that's where we are. So if you could do that, like, share, and subscribe, that helps us out. If, however, you'd like to help the show out with a little bit more cash money, a little bit more direct support, you can do that. We have a link for our donation station and our merch store down in the description below this video. You click on those. You can donate anything you want. Right now, the leader in the clubhouse is Pecan. He has donated $35 to this program. If you want to get your name on a ticker, you do more than $35, your name goes rang right there on the ticker. But again, you can donate anything you want. You can donate 5 cents. You can even donate 1 cent if you want to. While the cent is still in circulation, limited time, but it's still there. But anything you want to donate certainly helps us out. We'll give you a shout out right here on the program. Thank you all so very much for all your support and future support that you give us here at Stay Tuned Sports. Jimbo, how are we doing, brother?
Not too bad. Finally, the weekend here, so got some plans for the wife, the anniversary. Weekend.
Yes. And some people might be thinking that you're talking about an anniversary like it's your wedding anniversary, like it's a marriage anniversary. That's nice. No, I must remind people that this is not the anniversary of Jimbo's wedding. This is the anniversary of the day that he and his wife almost murdered me in the July heat of 2019, in which I sweated through a gray suit to the point where it turned black, and everybody wondered if I was going to die. I just want to point that out. So thank you so much for having an outdoor wedding on the hottest day in the middle of July. And I didn't know it was going to be that hot. You didn't know it was going to be hot in the middle of July? What's wrong with you?
It was a fun time, though.
Oh, God. I had so much heat stroke. I knocked over the champagne bucket trying to go to the sea. Like, remember? Dude, I was a mess. I think I had heat stroke. I literally think I had heat stroke. I didn't know what I was doing.
I remember the photographer when he gave us the hard drive of all the pictures and videos and stuff like that. He said that was the hardest photoshopping
that he had to try to because he had to try to make my sweated through gray suit that had turned black because of how much I sweated, trying to make it look like the regular gray suit. It was so hot. I'm a big fat guy, and it's so hot and sweaty out. I mean, and you chose gray. I would have rathered black. It would have been hotter. Yeah, but nobody would have noticed me sweating through the damn thing. Anyway, yes, congratulations to Jimbo and Alicia on their anniversary. Hope you guys have a great and fantastic wedding anniversary weekend, and that there will be much food and alcohol and adult things in the bedroom, perhaps. Yes. I don't know. I don't know. You've been married long enough. That's probably done and over with. Anyway, get it? That's what everybody says about weddings. Whatever. Anyway, enough about the celebrations of your wonderful marriage. It is time to get into the Friday forecast and see where me and Jimbo have the AFC North. And here we are, AFC North predictions coming up here. And I gotta say, I had to put the graphics together, so I kind of have a sneak peek at what we're looking at here. A little surprising, a little surprising. And I think when I expose this, some of the people are going to go ahead and agree with that as well. But let's take a look and see why I'm so surprised by some of this. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the Friday forecast for the AFC North. Jimbo has the Cincinnati Bengals winning the division at 14-3. In second place, 2 games behind. By 2 games, they're going to win the division. You have the Ravens at 11-6. You have the Steelers at 10-7, and the Browns at 13-4. You have the Bengals and Ravens making the playoffs. The Steelers and Browns not.
Since when does the NFL play 27 games? You said the Browns 13-14.
3 and 14. There you go. Again. I'm still having heat stroke from your damn wedding 6 years ago. All right, so let's relax. All right, it's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault that I do things like that. That's all your fault. You and Alicia, both of you. So yes, 14-3 for the Bengals. 11-6 for the Ravens. Those are the 2 teams you have making the playoffs out of the North. Then you have the Steelers at 10-7, not making the playoffs. And you have the Browns at 3-14, not 13-14. The Browns winning 13 games would be a fucking story. Even if you gave them 27 chances to win, that'd be something. That would be something. Me, however, I do have the Ravens winning the division at 12-5. Maybe a little bit lower win count than some people thought. But looking at the schedule, I think there's going to be a couple of surprises in there and things like that. So that's why I have the Ravens there at 12-5. In second place, though, I do have the Cincinnati Bengals at 11-6. And with everything the way that it played out, it did. I have the Ravens and the Bengals making the playoffs. So me and you have the same teams making the playoffs, just not in the same order. Also at 11-6, but losing the spot due to a tiebreaker, I have the Steelers, and at 11-6, I have them missing the playoffs. So we both have the Steelers missing the playoffs, and whereas you have the Browns at 3-14, I have the Browns at 2-15. Just 1 game worse, because boy, does that organization look bad. Even with that defense, even with Myles Garrett, you can't overcome some things. And boy, it just looks bad there in Cleveland. That's just my opinion. That's why we do the show. That's why we have the opinions here. That being said, Jimbo, looking at your setup there, explain yourself.
So this is based off of they're gonna get the Trey Hendrickson contract figured out.
Do you think so? Really, you're gonna give them that much of a benefit of the doubt and think they're actually gonna do that? You have a lot more faith in the Bengals front office than literally anybody else.
They're not going to trade him because they're going to be asking for 5 first rounds.
I didn't say they were going to trade him, but you're also thinking they're going to sign him. They're the type of team that will they will Hassan Reddick him. Okay, we'll play hardball. It's like, pay the fucking guy.
Yeah. So I mean, the defense, as long as they sign him and get that rookie under contract as
That's the other thing. You have your number 17 overall pick is holding out because you tried to put in some bullshit language and try to undercut him. They'll work things out. You have a lot more faith in the Bengals front office than literally anybody else.
Let me put an asterisk next to my name here for this episode, because looking at the records of all 4 teams here, I'm pretty sure that's how we had them last year, the division. And it was, Browns were terrible. Steelers ended up being terrible.
Well, the Steelers weren't. No, because the Steelers led the division for most of the year, and I believe at one point they had a 3-game lead on the Ravens, and then they lost their last 5, and fell to second place. and the Bengals were terrible in the first half of the year, and then Joe Burrow pulled them kicking and screaming almost into the playoffs. Which again, I saw on Twitter earlier this week. Somebody was trying to say like Joe Burrow was overrated. People are so dumb trying to put him as a top 5 quarterback. I was like, motherfucker, did you watch football last year at all? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. The Ravens, 11-6.
I want to know where you see. Like, again, I have them at 12-5, so I only have them a game better. Yeah. But, like, I look at their schedule. Like, again, I have them losing to the Bills. I have them losing to the Lions, which is plausible. I have them losing to the Rams, who, again, I think the Rams are that good of a team. I really do think they are that good of a team. Where else do I have a loss for them? I do have them losing to the Bengals. I have them doing a split, but I do have them losing to the Bengals. And I have them losing to the Vikings. So that's my 5. So you have an extra loss in there somewhere.
All right. So I was able to pull it up here. So I got the Texans beating them. The Rams beating them.
You have the Texans?
The Texans game.
You have the Texans beating the Ravens.
Mr. The Chargers being at 11 because it just feels like it. Well, that's
no, I get that. I get that, but that's
the game for me. Is it just feels like the Texans will beat the Ravens. Vikings, I have beating them. Another feel because I'm figuring J.J. McCarthy is going to be playing well, and by that point of the season.
All right, so we both have them losing to the Vikings based on that. Again, I do like that Vikings defense. That Vikings defense is very good.
I have the Bengals sweeping them.
That's crazy. So that's your 6, yeah.
And then the Steelers winning the last game.
Yeah, the Steelers pulling. Okay.
Only because by that point. Well, 10-7.
No, because that's it. If the Steelers, that's not. It's not. But here's the thing. I'll say this. When I look at the Ravens, they have a very good team. Now, the one thing that you and me do agree on mostly when it comes to the Ravens is that they do have those 1 or 2 games a year.
Yeah.
Where they inexplicably fucking lose. Like, they lost to the Raiders at home last year in week 2.
Yeah.
Why? Why? How does that physically happen? Yeah. So, like, I get that. And neither one of us have faith of them in the playoffs. Like, you can't have faith with the Ravens in the playoffs until they actually do something in the playoffs. So I get it. But regular season Ravens are usually, like I said, I have 12-5, and I'm sure some people will think that's kind of low. 11-6, that's an interesting place to have the Ravens there. And then I think this is going to be a question for both of us that we're both going to have to talk about and answer here is, if what we're saying comes to pass, what happens in Pittsburgh?
Total rebuild. Blow everything up.
You think they're going to throw everybody out?
Tomlin's gone. Arthur Smith's gone.
I'll say this.
The whole offense will be gone.
I will say this. Even at this point, if it's 10-7, 11-6, but missed the playoffs no matter what it is, I still think the only way Tomlin leaves is if Tomlin himself leaves. I don't think he'll be. I do not think the Rooneys would fire him. No. I don't think they would get rid of him. I think there would be. I think Arthur Smith would be gone. Yeah. I think they would kind of try to revamp everything. If Khan, the GM, would still be there is a question. I know they just signed him to a contract extension, but that would be a question that would be asked. Is, especially with some of the moves in the last 2 years, we're kind of like, and some of the drafts have been iffy. if you will. And then I think a lot of it's going to have to do with the T.J. Watt situation, how that's handled. Now, see, that's one where I think that's going to get done.
Yeah.
At some point. Like, I have faith for the Steelers to go ahead and get that done. Whereas with the Bengals and Hendrickson and the Rook, I have no faith in them to get that done whatsoever. I will believe they'll get it done when I see it posted by like Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissaro that it's done. And even then, I'm going to give it a half an hour, 45 minutes before I truly believe it. Whereas I think the Steelers will get that done. But that seems like a case where the Steelers would I think, have a major overhaul. But I don't think they would get rid of Tomlin unless he wants to leave. But again, I think the noise in the Pittsburgh fan base would be loud.
Yes.
But then again, as somebody on the outside looking in, I think Steeler fans are spoiled. And
we've said that for a while.
You're all screaming, oh, we got to get rid of Tomlin. It's terrible. We got to get rid of Tomlin. Got to get rid of Tomlin. That's fine. Get rid of Tomlin. And put somebody else in there if you want to. I don't know who you'd get in there. But you could put somebody else in there and see what happens. Because you want to talk about, all we ever do is above 500 and get into the playoffs. And then we lose a game. All we ever do is, we have a winning record and then get into the playoffs and then we lose. And it's like, I can get that. I can understand how that's frustrating. And I know that's just the level of excellence that we have here in Pittsburgh. All right, calm down. But if that's the level of excellence that you have to be better than that, what happens when you start just shuffling the coach here and there and it's so much worse than what you had?
Yeah.
What happens when you start going 2-15? What happens when you start going 3-14, 4-13, 13-14? What happens when you start going down that road? So when it comes to that, like I was one who thought I don't know. I'm just hearing massive squeaking in my house for some reason, and now I'm worried that it's going to collapse on me, and I don't know why. So let's try to get this episode done before I die. I don't know what the end game is like for that, but I truly do believe that Tomlin will leave, or Tomlin will not be a Steelers head coach only if Tomlin doesn't want to be. Like, it feels that kind of level. Because here's the thing. It's not like the Steelers are like a 2-win, 3-win, 4-win team every year. That's not the case. And also, to be fair, Tomlin has done a lot with some pretty weak Steelers teams, especially since Roethlisberger retired, to actually get them to either a winning record or even into the playoffs. I think there's been and that's what I'm talking about. Like, Steeler fans are like, oh, we expect more. But it's like, have you looked at your fucking roster? Like, it's not a world beater, especially on the offensive side.
Yeah.
The defense looks good. I like that, which is Tomlin's wheelhouse, and the defense always look good. But the offense, both in personnel and maybe in coaching, and like I said, the people kind of rolled their eyes with the Arthur Smith hiring to begin with. But before that, you had Matt Canada, who wasn't much better. Like, when you look at it overall, the fact that the Steelers have been able to have winning records and have gotten into the playoffs with the teams that they've put out on that field is nothing short of a fucking miracle.
Yeah.
So that's where I kind of come on this, is like, why are we complaining so much when your teams by all rights should have 7 wins, 8 wins at best? And meanwhile, you're getting 11 wins, 12 wins, 10 wins with this. Like, so that's what I mean, is like, relax. So I'm firmly in a Tomlin camp. I get that. And some people just say, I'm carrying water for Tomlin. Sure I am, and I would love to continue to do so. I truly do think that I don't think he'll be gone, but I do think there would be overhauls if this comes to pass. If they don't make the playoffs, and especially in that case with like a tiebreaker with the Cincinnati Bengals, which I'm going to be honest, I was surprised by myself of having the Bengals there because again, I looked at what I do with this particular schedule machine is I look at the games and in that moment I'm like, who do I think would win? Looking at it. Again, there's no injuries involved. We don't know. We can't tell the future if someone's going to be injured or not. I make the best guess I can on the schedule as it looks. So when it came out to this, I was actually surprised. I surprised myself that I had the Bengals where they were. What was not a surprise is the Browns. They're just bad. They're just a bad team. They're not great. They got Joe Flacco back. That's not gonna do anything. The quarterback room in and of itself is a mess. Again, I don't think Shedeur Sanders was part of the plan until Jimmy Haslam got a bug up his ass in the 5th round. I was like, pick him, why not? And it's like, yeah, but then why did you trade for Kenny Pickett? Why did you draft what is it? Dylan Gabriel? Yeah, from Oregon. Why did you draft him? Why have your quarterback room like that? And still technically, ostensibly having Deshaun Watson in the quarterback room, even though we know he's never going to play another down for them. But you have all this. Why did you trade for Kenny Pickett then? Because I'll tell you why. Shedeur Sanders wasn't part of the plan. You figure you got Joe Flacco for this season, see if you can recapture some of that magic from 2 years ago. You get Kenny Pickett as a solid, reliable backup. Maybe give you a couple of games. Hopefully won't fuck up things too badly. Again, he's not a deep threat, but he can give you the short range passes, 10, 15 yards that will hopefully keep the offense moving. And to be fair, the Browns really don't have a massive deep threat. So that could work. And then you have Dylan Gabriel as the rookie quarterback that you can kind of develop and see what you got. That makes sense. Now you throw in Shedeur Sanders. Yes, he's only a 5th round pick. Yeah, you can kind of get him on the cheap, but also you know the baggage and the circus that comes with them. And if you don't win the first 3-4 games of the season, people aren't going to be asking when are you going to put Kenny Pickett in? They're going to be asking, or they're not going to be asking when you're going to put Dylan Gabriel in. They're going to be asking, when do you put Shedeur in? Are you thinking about putting Shedeur Sanders in? Dion out in Colorado is going to be like, put my son in. I don't know what the problem is. They suck anyway. Put him in there. See what you got. Put in my son. My son could do better than this. And it's like, you're already asking for that problem. And on top of that, now it's a personnel problem. You can only have a maximum of 3 quarterbacks on game day anyway. Now you have 4. Like, are you gonna throw Dylan Gabriel onto the practice squad? Kenny Pickett? Are you gonna put Shedeur Sanders on the practice squad? Oh, the headlines that would make. Like you just can't get out of your own way. I don't understand the Browns thinking. Yeah, they have a good defense despite themselves. But it's just, again, this is something where Jimmy Haslam, I think, screwed up something so badly when it didn't need to be. Because it's either like, okay, we're going to get 2 quarterbacks in the draft. That's the plan. That's something we have going forward. Then you don't trade for Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
And if you do trade for Kenny Pickett, it's like, let's see what young quarterback we can get there and see if we can get anything. And you did that with Dylan Gabriel. But now you throw Shedeur Sanders in the mix because... And it again, it's like getting rid of Baker Mayfield because you're like, he's done all he could do here. We're gonna go with somebody that we know can lead this team in the future, Deshaun Watson, and then give him the dumbest contract of all fucking time.
Yeah.
Which again, that's what I mean. The Browns were this close. They were on the cusp. They had won a playoff game against their hated rival in Pittsburgh. Baker Mayfield was like they were on the cusp of being something good and special, and they blew it up for no reason. And well, you get what they get now, and that's what I mean. They're going to be in the discussion for the number 1 draft pick.
Oh, without a doubt.
This coming year, I really do. It's gonna, to me, honestly, I think it's between them and the Saints. I think that's going to be your number 1 and number 2 pick. No matter which order they are, I think your number 1 and number 2 picks going into this year, next year's draft will be either the Browns or the New Orleans Saints. Jimbo, a quick thought on the Browns. I don't want to. I spent too much time talking about the fucking Browns as it is, but
no, I just looked now. I actually have them as the worst team in AFC. So like, same thing. They'll be going for the number 1 or number 2 pick.
Yeah, they are number 16 in mine
And
as well.
They'll probably end up like drafting a punter or something at number 1.
Might be. It might be. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is mine and Jimbo's prediction of the AFC North. He has the Bengals, Ravens, Steelers, and Browns, with the Bengals being the division champions and the Ravens making the playoffs. I have the Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, and Browns, with the Ravens winning the division and the Bengals making the playoffs. We both have the Steelers and the Browns eliminated from playoff contention. Interesting. Very interesting. Again, like I said, that Bengals result for me surprised me when I made it. Like when I was done picking the schedules and then I looked at the totality of what I had done, I was like, that's a surprising one. That one surprised me a lot. So interesting to see how that goes. And I think there's going to be a lot more surprises when we do this. I was surprised by a couple other outcomes that I had. And I think next week is going to be one where me and you, we might fight. We might fight because next week is going to be the AFC South, and I've seen what I've picked, and I've seen what you picked because I got to do the graphics. We're going to have an interesting discussion on the AFC South. So trust me, you guys are not going to want to miss next week on the AFC South because it's going to. I can feel it already. I can feel it already that there's going.
You look like you're turning red.
It's going to be a little. It's going to be a little. It's going to get heated. It's going to get heated. But that'll be for next week. But for now, that's going to do it here for the Friday Forecast. Again, if you want to help us out at all for free, you can do that 3 easy ways. Like, share, subscribe. Helps us out tremendously. And again, if you want to help us out a little more direct support, you can do that with our donation station and our merch store. Links in the description below. Thank you so very much, Jimbo. Before we get out of here, any final thoughts?
Just hopefully my hot takes don't come back to bite me.
That's the thing. We had earlier with the
Bengals
countdown with your Washington Redskins saying that they were going to destroy the Green Bay Packers, and now you have the Bengals winning the AFC North. So this has been hot take week here for Jimbo. Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting to see how that all plays out. But until next Friday when we do the AFC South, and I honestly think that's going to be interesting. That's going to be a good one. I'm your boy King. That is your good friend Jimbo, and we will see you then. Adios, everybody.